Interesting political fight brewing in North Carolina, where the State Board of Elections recently voted 3-2 against certifying the Green Party as an official party for the Senate race until further investigation can be completed. So, according to the Rally News Observer, the vote fell along party lines, with the board's 3 Democrats voting against certification and the 2 Republicans voting in favor.
I wonder what could possibly explain that vote.
Just who could possibly venture a guess? So the details are the Green Party candidate. So it's Matthew Ho, by the way, who is an Afghan whistleblower, a former Marine. Mm-hmm. I believe he's been on this show in the past. He resigned from the State Department in protest over Obama's surge in 2011. So he needed 15,953 verified signatures from around. He needed 13,865 signatures from around North Carolina. They turned in 22,500 signatures. You always have to do more because a bunch of people get their addresses wrong, or they write Mickey Mouse or whatever. So 15,953 were verified as legitimate, putting them 2,000 votes over the total, so you should be in good shape. After a hearing, though, Democrats voted 3-2 to say, no, we're not going to allow this.
Yeah.
We're not going to go forward with this. The Green Party and Matthew Ho are alleging that the Elias Group, Mark Elias being the lead attorney basically for the Democratic Party,
just an all-around fun guy.
Was going through the list of people who had signed the petition and calling them and saying, like, hey, your signature on this petition could lead a Green Party nominee to be on the ballot in the Senate race, and it could lead the Democrat to lose this Senate campaign. Because if Democrats are going to win in North Carolina, it's going to be, by hundreds or by the low thousands of votes. And if a Green Party candidate from frustrated progressives picks up 10,000 votes, that could be the difference. That's certainly how they see it, and that's also how Republicans see it. Like, Republicans have been known, and I think it was in Washington and some other places, to have actively funded third-party campaigns, like Green Party campaigns, to draw votes away from Democrats. Democrats have actually started to kind of boost libertarians and other constitutional conservatives.
Ross
Perot. But aside from Ross Perot, like today, what they will do is they'll go find kind of right-wing third-party candidates and put a super PAC behind them. And so all of a sudden, this person who they got on the ballot on their own, Democrats have nothing to do with that, but they'll go in and pump money into that person. They try to do it with Amy McGrath. Amy McGrath was using her millions of resistance dollars to pump up some gun-toting constitutional conservative or something to try to draw votes away from McConnell. So both parties do this. But so anyway, here we are. Democrats using their power on the board to try to keep the Greens off the North Carolina ballot.
What's interesting to me about this is how Mark Elias and Clinton world are so viscerally obsessed with the Green Party, to the point where they're willing. Mark Elias is involved in this State Board of Elections fight in North Carolina successfully, to the point where there's successful, I shouldn't say manipulation, but successful strategizing and maneuvering of how Democrats voted. And obviously the Democratic Party's interest here is to undercut and kneecap the Green Party. And obviously the Republican Party's interest is in boosting them electorally. But in terms of the principle, it's pretty outrageous that you're intimidating people who signed on to something with calls from a super high-powered law firm in Washington, D.C. But I just do think it also speaks to how, Hillary Clinton blamed Putin boosting Jill Stein on losing the 2016 election. I still think they were just viscerally...
And the math doesn't add up on that one, by the way.
No.
For people who are curious.
Do you know who was trending while we were discussing the news about Dobbs last week? Freaking Susan Sarandon. It is the Democratic establishment is obsessed with just absolutely punishing anybody they foolishly perceive, and it's hilarious because they wax sanctimonious about principle and democracy. They're the ones that are just targeting it with their special interests and with their special law firms.
And the answer to this really would be something like ranked choice voting. I mean, if we're not going to have a parliamentary system where the Green Party can be like a little coalition within a broader coalition, but if you have ranked choice voting, then you can go in and say you like Matthew Ho the most, that's your first candidate. But you don't want your vote to throw the election to a Republican, then you put Sherry Beasley too. And so then if Matthew Ho gets what they expect in the thousands of votes, those votes then all get given to Sherry Beasley against the Republican, and that allows people to vote their conscience but a lot of people's consciences don't want to contribute to then throwing the election to a Republican. Some don't care.
But here they're not even.
They're right too.
They're not even getting to the ballot. Like
Right.
They're not even getting to the ballot, and it's what Mark Elias is doing should be so stigmatized in Washington D.C. and in our politics that people like Hillary Clinton are afraid to work with him in the future, but in fact it's the opposite. This actually makes him more valuable and more appealing to establishment Democrats to work with, but in a better system. And I think a system that maybe would have existed, not too long ago. Mark Elias is rewarded for something that he should be absolutely ashamed and embarrassed and shouldn't want to show his face on K Street even for acting like this.
Well, it's seen as clever here.
Yes.
And, one example of a politician who got his career started by kicking his opponent off the ballot because of petitions was Barack Obama. In his state Senate race,
Not the agent of hope and change.
The agent of hope and change.
No.
The incumbent said she wasn't going to run, so Obama runs. They were friends. Obama runs, then she changes her mind if she was going to run for some other seat. So she jumps back in the state Senate race, and he challenges her petitions.
That doesn't sound like him.
And finds enough invalid signatures and got her kicked off, and so won unopposed.
And people who sort of are frustrated throw their hands in the air. Why can't a third party catch on? The system is completely set up to undercut a third party.
I mean, in two ways, right? So
there are cultural reasons too, but the system also doesn't support it.
Right. The system, because it's first past the post, means that whoever if you have 40% of the vote, you can win if all the rest of the vote is divided behind you, and so that just pushes candidates into this 1-to-1, two candidates being the only two viable ones. But then also because those two parties have gotten so powerful, they've been able to write election laws that make it very difficult for these third parties to even get on.
But then they will find a way to boost the third party when it's going to benefit them.
Oh yeah, and if he does get on, watch him have a $2 million independent expenditure from Republicans.
Yeah.
We're like, isn't Matthew Ho great?
I feel like every segment we've done today has just ended on a horrifically pessimistic note. So happy 4th of July, everyone.
There you go. This is to air on Mondays, I believe. Rising Fridays for Monday.
Perfect. Rising Friday holiday edition. Enjoy it.
Yep. Enjoy your hot dogs and your beer.
Enjoy your hot dogs and your beer, and celebrate the fact that Ryan and I can trash the government this way and not be arrested. Not yet.
Expressing, those are our freedoms.
Not yet.
All right. Happy 4th. See you soon.